Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
And good evening, our fellow lovers of love out there, and welcome to another pre-show disaster, because that always happens right before. It's always something with us, isn't it?
It's
you
always.
didn't refill your drink. I knocked over.
I don't have any more orange juice. I'd have to make some, and we didn't have enough time.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, because literally a minute before the show, I knocked over your drink and spilled it. Well, the thing fell over, which knocked over the drink. I didn't actually do it, but I was closest person. And I'm the one who actually broke the stand, which is why I've got this one. So it's just been a disaster, all this pre-setting up the show today, which, of course, is perfectly normal around here. So, in other words, everything's pretty normal around here. So how's everybody else been? We hope you all are well tonight. We're talking online dating, as the title says, from swiping to soulmates. Navigating online dating. I don't get the swiping. I never know which way it is, left or right, which is which. So I don't know.
Well, I never was on that Tinder.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is. But anyway, if you want to find out more about us, you can go to... I can never find the right ones. Oh, wait. It's because it was at the top. You can send your letters to love at latenightLove.us, but you can always find us at latenightLove.us. You can always find our past shows and our reference links, and our questions of the night can be found there. And, if you would like, we would always appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what do we got tonight, Lovey? We're starting with finding your love online, which is something we know about.
We met online and through a personal ad on Craigslist, but due to some legal mumbo jumbo, you can't post on personal ads on Craigslist anymore.
Yeah. Thank you, federal government. Morons. But that's...
So we never would have met.
Well, probably not. We would have had to been on the same app at the same time. It's a whole cluster now these days. So, but whatever.
Yeah.
We're just old people yelling at clouds, maybe, So, that's entirely possible too. It's not like it was in our days. Yeah, but before our days, you had to put personal ads in paper, in the newspaper and stuff too.
I did that too.
Or magazines and things like that. That was...
We have a local newspaper, local rag, that has quite an interesting personal
ads. Yeah. Well, at least they used to. I don't know if they do now, but that's how these things worked back in the old days, right? It's
and you had to start out by writing letters,
or you had to go out somewhere to a party or a funeral or the grocery store and walk up to somebody going, "Hi, how are you? My name is Freddie," and that's not that easy. So,
yeah,
that's why they had coming out parties or whatever they were back in the day.
Yes,
so you could actually meet people from a wider variety.
But interesting enough, around 40% of U.S. couples meet online, according to a recent study.
That doesn't really surprise me now, considering how many people are online and all that. It doesn't surprise me. It might surprise me that it's so low, but I suppose you've got the older generation. But we're part of the older generation now, so it's kind of surprising. We're over 50. We're old people now, at least when it comes to these things.
Well, yeah. I guess
so.
Swiping left and swiping right.
We don't even know which way is left or which way is which. I don't know. I know you swipe one way if it's good and the other way if it's bad. I just don't know which way is which. So I should probably find out, but then I'll forget because I'll find out and I won't use it again for 3 years or whatever.
So when are you on Tinder?
I'm not. I don't know. Is it left or right? You tell me. I don't know if it's left or right. I should look it up, but then I'd forget because I would never use it, so I would never remember.
Oh,
That's why you would forget because you'd look it up. You'd go search it. You'd ask the AI or whatever. Hey, is it slut? What's you can ask the AI to tell you, write you a story, but you, yeah, I would forget because without using it, there would be no way to remember. I just now which way was it again? That's all. So, like when we have to talk about it here, which is why we should know because we have this discussion here.
I know. We should know.
Someone should have looked it up for the show notes here.
Well, I didn't think of it.
Not that it matters.
I didn't research any specific dating sites.
All right. So, but we've got 40% of American couples now find themselves online, which is not unsurprising. 39% of heterosexual couples that got together in 2017 met online, according to a study. Now, you take these studies with a grain of salt, but somewhat, probably in the ballpark. Industry. There's a $4 billion industry, to help people online date, Cupid or whatever the heck those sites. The farmers site,
Meet.
The Christian sites. You've got all those various dating sites. There's dating sites for farmers. There's dating sites for Christians. There's dating sites for everything, which is both good and bad.
If you want to move to Alaska, there's a dating site for that too.
Yeah. So, all right. So what else? What else you got?
Well, we have 11 how to meet someone online. We have 11 steps. First, you choose the online venue that you want, or if you want more than one. And then decide exactly what kind of people you're looking for in order to get the relevant websites and applications. If you're just looking for a hookup, Match.com is not going to do it because it goes.
Yeah, if you're looking for a one-night stand, you're going to go to someplace like Tinder. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, you're going to eHarmony or the farmer's website or whatever, right? And if you're interested in a farmer, then you go to the farmer's thing. If you're interested in
If you want to move to Alaska.
Yeah, so, you can help your search by being more choosy about the sites you use.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose. And don't click on those things near you that tell you girls near you. Just don't click those. Those are scammy. Which brings up to the funny. This guy said he lives in a town of like 100 people, and one of those website pop-ups that says there's thousands of girls near you who want to sleep with you right now, and he says, "No, there's not." Said there's nobody near me. I'm in a town of like 150 people. There's not thousands of people. Anyway, so what else is there?
Be honest.
Yeah. What is?
Consider how much information you're willing to share. Don't puke on someone's tennis shoes in your profile.
Or puke on somebody's tennis shoes. It'll thin the herd. But just do it strategically. Understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Maybe you just want to thin the herd, so you dump everything out. And people who are still interested in you. Maybe you don't. Be a woman of mystery is more attractive. Who knows?
Well, you have to share something to spark interest.
Yeah, you've got to have something. All right, so
consider the level of intimacy you're looking to have with the people you meet. if you're just looking for online chatting, then you can pick people from all over the world. But if you want a relationship in person, then you need to filter through to the local people.
Yeah. So, you find out what you're actually looking for. If you're looking to move, or if you're willing to move, you might have an expanded role, or maybe you're historically good at long distance relationships, and you don't really mind. You're career oriented, and you're looking for long distance doesn't bother you because you don't have time during the week or something. And then you like to travel and get out of town on the weekend. So finding someone a couple hundred miles away maybe isn't such a big deal. Okay.
Keep your profile honest.
Yeah. So under creating a profile, it's keep your profile honest. Oh, where are we at? Okay. I think I went past you. No. Accidentally.
Familiarize yourself with social etiquette of the website or application. Engage with the online community. I don't know about that.
Well, it depends I think it depends exactly what you're looking for.
And remember to stay safe. Always proceed with caution.
I have no idea where you're at.
And then meeting in person. Show up before your arranged meeting time and groom yourself well. So that's just the first step.
So that's what you do. You want to create your profile. Be strategic about where you plant your profiles. Be strategic about what you put on your profiles. Do you want to put a lot of information, or do you want to, reveal yourself slowly? Neither one is right or wrong. It's just make sure you're deliberate about it. Be honest. Be open and honest, and put your best foot forward. Comb your hair, brush your teeth, take a shower, whatever.
Put on clean clothes and not one with holes.
Unless you look good in holes.
I met a guy who took me out to dinner. It was the first date, and he had holes in his shirt.
Well, maybe that was his holy shirt. Was it a Sunday?
No.
And if you're going to talk that softly, you have to be closer to the microphone.
No.
I'm just saying. Ooh, that one actually picked up the helicopter. So now we've got 8 stages of online dating? Is what we're trying to do? All right.
For number 1, deciding to join a dating app, and then you create your profile. And then this says once you've created your perfect profile, the fun begins.
Right. So we've done the profile. We've done choosing the app already. So swiping and matching.
You're gonna if you're the new kid in town, you're gonna get a lot of hits.
Yeah. So that's one thing to remember. But we've actually already done 1 and 2 on the other article. So if we should just hop down to swiping and matching. Once you've got all your profiles set up and you're prepared for the onslaught of people wanting to see who you are and talk to you because, you're the new piece of meat in town. And you just want to see what you're about. Now you've got to decide. Now you've got to start making decisions, right?
Okay. Step 4 is chatting and communicating. So you've found someone you're interested in.
Yeah.
Okay, you should respond in the same day or within 24 hours so the match doesn't go stale.
Yeah, be as present as you can, especially if you're actively looking, right? try to be engaging a little bit, right? Don't just say hi. Try to, try to be yourself is the best way to get around there. Type as you talk is my.
That's what I do. I chat how I talk.
So that would be my suggestion. Chat how you talk.
Okay, so next step would be meeting in real life.
Yep, and you always want to be careful. Follow your instincts. If something feels off, then it feels off. Follow that. That is my first piece of advice.
Definitely.
Don't meet if you're unsure. And when I mean don't meet if you're unsure, I don't mean the kind of nervousness, unsure about doing something new. That's kind of normal. But you know what the beyond normal uncertainty is. And just trust your instincts on that. Okay?
And of course, you always meet in a public place. I always drove myself. I didn't let them know where I lived right away.
Yeah, or take an Uber or a Lyft these days, right? Have a friend drop you off, take an Uber home. Make sure you have your own. Don't be dependent on somebody you've never met. And that's a good advice, at least for the first while.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's even easier because you can make sure you have Lyft or Uber or whatever on your phone, and you can get even the local taxi services now are on an app, so you can do that. But make sure you have your own your ability to get your own ride. You don't want to be dependent. When deciding where to go on a first date, keep it light. Someplace where you don't mind if you have to cut it short. That's why people recommend coffee or lunch.
Yes.
You meet for a sandwich instead of meeting down for an expansive dinner or something. You meet for donuts and a coffee or something. Then if you want to go do something afterwards, you can make a decision then, right? And keep them short. Your first few activities keep short. Plan short. They can, you have the right to extend if things are going well. But plan for them to be short, so you don't find yourself stuck.
Yeah. Okay, now this recommends dating multiple people multiple times. And you wait for someone to stand out from the rest.
Yeah.
It depends. I've never dated multiple people well.
Well, I mean, if it depends what you're talking about. If you're, scheduling first or second dates with a handful of people within, say, a couple of months, that's not the same thing as dating. If you're on date 7 or 8 with a handful of people at the same time, then you've got commitment issues, right? You're hap on an app. You set up the first date or two over the course of 6 weeks with 4 or 5. That's nothing wrong with that. You're testing things out. That's perfectly normal, perfectly reasonable. But like I said,
we met after 3 days.
So yeah, but I'm just saying, at that time would have been perfectly fine for either one of us to have set up a first date with somebody else because we weren't dating.
Right.
Right. And that's my point, is it's perfectly fine in those. But if you find yourself on date 7 or 8, you shouldn't be dating 5 or 6 people on date 7 or 8. Or if you're on date 7 or 8, you probably shouldn't be having date 1 with somebody else unless it was planned a long time ago.
I was smitten from our first message.
So
I wanted to get you to know you better.
Well, and that's one of the ways to decide which one to spend more time with, right? The one that you just want to spend more time with is the one you spend more time with. If you're juggling, it means you probably don't like all of them that much, or any of them all that much. That's all I'm saying. You'll know which one you want to spend time with. All right.
Well, the next step would be deciding if you're going to date exclusively.
Which is exactly what we were talking about. Now you've got to put up or shut up, right? is this the person I want to spend some time with? Is this the person I want to see if we can grow together, or are we going to grow apart? And, because that's fundamentally what happens in relationships. You either grow together or you grow apart. And, timetables are different. Your timetable may be different than theirs. And the person who wants to go slowest gets the say. Is essentially how that works. That's how that works. The slowest person in the relationship gets the say. They just do. That's called being respectful of other people's pace. The fast person can slow down if they care that much. The dirty secret is if you give that slow person the freedom to be slow, they will speed up. That's the dirty little secret. You give them the freedom and to be who they are, and you support their choices and their pace will naturally speed up. If it was meant to be, if it was ever a thing, going to be a thing anyway. Because you have allowed them to be who they are. There's no better way to get someone to love you than to support who they are. Guess what? So if you push them, you're actually going to make them go slower. Hello, McFly. And this is some of the stuff isn't that hard. You just have to think it through from the other person's perspective and understand that, it benefits you in the long run if it's meant to be. If a relationship was there to build. That's all I'm saying. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
So, all right.
Okay, the last stage of online dating is when you're officially a couple and you retire your dating profiles.
I wonder how many dead profiles are out there because people just don't bother to even go back. They're just kind of there. Haven't been touched in 5, 6, 10 years. but they're still technically there.
I wonder how many. Well, most apps say how long it's been since someone logged in.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean it's correct. They can have a server problem when everybody gets reset. So it could be a lot longer or shorter than it really is.
Oh.
But even still, it's, if it's a couple years, then it's probably a good idea that it's a dead profile. 6 months, it may not be a dead profile, but 6 years, it probably is. Just saying.
Just saying.
All right. So what do we got? We got one more.
One more. Okay. 6 tips for writing a perfect online profile.
And yeah, a lot of us aren't good at that. And now, of course, we've got AI, so you can dump in some stuff and have AI rewrite your profiles for you to be a little bit better. That's the kind of stuff it's actually good at. So if you're looking for a profile, of course, a decent photo or not, depending upon your view on putting a photo out there. They find, but people want to know what you're about, and how you write your profile is important. It says something about you, even if you don't really think it does. And most of us are not good at writing about ourselves. Especially when you sit down to do it for a dating profile, your brain goes frizzy or whatever, and you just can't do it.
I know, right?
Which is why you end up with people who pay people to do it. But now luckily we have AI. So put in the keywords and stuff about yourself, go to AI, say write a dating profile for me, and it'll do it. And then you adjust it so it sounds like you. That's my advice for writing a dating profile. How accurate it is, I'll never know. But that would be my suggestion. So someone go out there and try that and report back. See how it goes. I'm interested. You can find us at late911.us. Yeah, because the generic profiles don't say anything about you. So, make sure you include some things, even if it seems a little goofy. Try to avoid politics unless you're really hard pressed on finding someone who is politically similar to you, or right. Some people can't imagine themselves as someone who's too politically different. I find it personally sad, but if you are that way, then be honest about it. Right? You'll attract somebody who's similar. Great, and you won't waste someone's time who's different. You won't waste each other's time. So be open, be honest.
Give a snapshot of who you are. So describe your personality a little bit. You talk about how you live your life. And you talk about the type of relationship you're seeking.
Yeah, and think about going through like a week of your life. Choose the highlights, the things you'd like to do. If you could design your life, after work on Mondays, I'd like to go. You want to, go out to eat on Tuesday nights. I want to, have a quiet night at home on Thursdays, and of course, for the weekends, I want to be able to spend, at least half a day with some of our friends, just enjoying themselves. But sometime in the future, I want to have a family. Put that in there, especially if you're on like eHarmony or some of those places that you're looking for a long-term relationship. If you're on a, shall we say, a more pleasure-oriented dating site, your highlights will be different, right?
Yeah.
You will express what you're looking for, what you need, and what you're willing to give in response to that. And just be honest and open about what it is you're looking for. Otherwise, you're never going to get it. So, that's my advice.
And that's what those sites are for, to be open and honest and upfront.
You don't have to be vulgar, but you do.
Right.
But you do want to be, don't try to be so plain that you're not interesting. And, you don't have to tell someone about your deepest, darkest desire, so to speak, because it's not their business yet. So, keep it somewhere in between those two. Keep it out the gutters. That's all I'm saying. But still be open. And in the normal profile, it's we're talking about here is look what you're looking for.
What you're looking for, and they suggest focusing on character. You are being specific as to when you focus on your character, you are being specific as to your values, which will resonate with like-minded people.
Yeah. Think more philosophically than practically. Yeah, okay. We all might prefer, have a visual preference, superficial visual preference on things we find attractive. But what we generally find attractive over the long haul is someone who shares a perspective, shares a vision is the wrong word, but shares a direction. Someone you can grow together with rather than grow apart. And someone who makes you stronger, someone who balances out your weaknesses. You balance out theirs. Someone who's able to highlight your strengths and cover your weaknesses. And when you find people who are willing to do that, it's a wonderful thing. Who are willing and able, it's a wonderful thing. So, anyway, my suggestion is just be yourself, be open, be honest, and treat others. It goes back to the freaking golden rule: do unto others, my friends, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, and the world will be a much, much, much happier place. Okay, so now what we got?
We have relationship questions.
Oh, relationship questions. Well, I suppose that's apropos. I suppose. All right, what do we got?
Okay, first off, how do I, 40 male, broach the subject paying for sex to my wife, 44 female? She hasn't been interested in sex lately, and I want to motivate her.
You want to motivate her? Do the dishes and the laundry for a week. That'll motivate her. Do whatever it is you're not doing.
I'm sorry, dude, but you're gonna piss her off.
Yeah, that's the wrong approach. I get what you're saying. You want to motivate her, but you're looking to motivate somebody, you don't look what you use to motivate yourself. You look what they want. and give her what she wants. My guess is she's told you. And they're also maybe, 44. She may not be feeling very well. She may have something physically wrong. Be a little bit more understanding. But my suggestion is pick up a little bit of extra slack. There's stuff that she wants or needs done. Be nice to her and she'll be nice to you. That's how these things work. So whether it's doing the dishes or, taking the kids out so she can have some peace and quiet, finishing the shower that you told her you were going to finish redoing, 6 years ago, whatever it is, take her on a vacation. Maybe she just needs a freaking break. Spend some time together without worrying about what happens at the end. Just spend some time together.
That's a very good idea.
If she's doing dishes, do the dishes with her. Especially if you have a big kitchen that's big enough to kind of do things. There's 100 things you can do. Go grocery shopping with her. Just spend some normal, routine time with her. I was listening to a psychiatrist. He's actually both, the other day, and he says, if you get your day-to-day pieces of your relationship right, that's like 90% of your life. So get those right. And then that rest of it will follow. That's what I would suggest.
It really will.
Okay.
Is asking for marriage too much? 26 female and 25 male. We've been together for 6 years.
Well, no, it's not asking for too much. They may be on a different timeline. They may be on a different place. They may not want to marry you. But after 6 years, it's probably time to make a decision. Now, I want to say something before we go on too far. There is a modern definition of marriage that doesn't include the piece of paper. And so maybe your partner is more along that line. There's a growing group of people who want to be as committed as what we call marriage, but they don't want to get the government involved in their relationship. It seems goofy to them. And, you may have to have that discussion. So there's a few possibilities. And in that case, you have your commitment ceremony, do everything but file the paperwork, be married, live together and share your life together and treat each other as husband and wife. And guess what? You're married to the community and culture at large. You're married to everybody but the IRS. And then talk to your tax accountant how to take advantage of that. That would be my But it is time to find out what your relationship is, because you're at the age where you've got to know. 6 years is too long to not be fully committed or not. It's time to make sure you're both in the same direction. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Marriage doesn't have to be the piece of paper, but it does mean, fully committed.
Making the commitment. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, girl, 26 female. I'm 37 male. The girl he's seeing wouldn't tell me the last time she had sex. Red flag.
No, it means it's none of your damn business. Does it matter? If it matters, then you move on and find someone with whom shares the same values as you. And essentially, her unwillingness to tell you, which is just, it's her complete right, because it's none of your damn business. Yeah, and you get to make your decisions on that. Quite frankly, 11 years isn't too long, but 11 years at that particular stage of life is difficult. It just is. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's difficult. When you're both older, if in 10 years, you're 26 and 47, it's a little different. Both had some more experience. But yeah. That's all I'm saying.
I think
I'm not saying that.
I think you're right. It is none of his damn business.
Yeah, it depends. When you say I'm seeing, it applies you're seeing her 2 or 3 times, which means it's none of your business. If you become exclusive or whatever, then it becomes your business. But if it bothers you, and then you have a perfect right to ask, and she has a perfect right to say it's none of your business, And you all have to make a decision about your relationship from there. This is how these things work. This is just called life. And you have to make a decision how much it bothers you or not. And my question would be, why would it bother you? You're 37. You're no patron saint of non-sexhood, right? I'm assuming you're somewhat experienced. Just because she's younger than you doesn't mean she can't have the same experience level. Sorry. It's just not how it works. You get to make the choice. Don't get me wrong. But she gets to tell you to pound sand. Okay. If she wants to, So, and you have to define red flag. What? That she's been sexually active in her life and she wants to. Anyway, yeah, I'd spend some time in the mirror actually wondering why you asked that question. Okay.
Okay. My 25 female conservative parents don't approve of me and my boyfriend, 24 male, moving in together. How do I get them to accept this?
You don't.
Well,
you just do it.
Can't.
Be well. You get them to accept it by being in a genuinely committed, working, functional relationship. That's how you get them to accept it. And the only way you do that is by doing it. So they'll come around. They don't like to see their daughter going off with, it's hard. So it's just hard. Watching your daughter go off to move in out of state or something with their boyfriend is a difficult thing. Yeah. We had to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy, but you try to be as supportive as possible. We're lucky. It was one of the younger children, so we'd have experience with this thing. But it's not easy, but you do the right thing. But you don't need their approval. You're an adult. Just do it. If you think it's the right thing to do, just do it. Their approval will come when you show you are a functional adult. And the sad thing is, you will likely never get an apology or a thing. You're right.
No, you're not gonna get that.
But they will start treating you like the adult you are, and so take that as the win. Okay. What we got next? Parenting. Ooh, yay!
Yay!
Yeah. We need to start using. Oh, yay! But good thing I had that off. I didn't need to hit the button. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Stay-at-home parents. What do you do in your free time once your child reaches school age?
There's no such thing as free time. You just fill it up with other things.
Well, you can pursue some of your own hobbies after you've gone through the whole house and reorganized everything. And then there's always classes at the community center and classes community college. You can get fit. You can work out.
Well, when I was a stay-at-home parent, I didn't have time for none of that.
How about
he was just busy taking care of everything.
How about being able to spend time with your friends?
Or your work some time to spend with your spouse, but it's not as long as you think it is. They're gone 6 hours. All right, school's 6 hours. And so you go drop them off, and then you get back home. You've got 5 hours. That's it. That's all you've got. And you've got cleaning and laundry and any errands to run. You got to go to the store. If you got doctor's appointments, just go in. There's no time it's called managing a house. Now, the nice thing is your house gets to do more because you're there to do it. You don't have to try and squeeze all that stuff in at night when you're tired at home. You get to actually have genuine family time. You get to have weekends as weekends because you've done all those chores that, a lot of people have to do on the weekend. You get to do them as a stay-at-home parent over the course of the week, so that it's not so stressful. And so that's the benefit. The benefit isn't that you have time during the week. It's that all those other chores that you've got to squeeze in during the rest of the time are able to get done then. And so you're able to be more relaxed and have a more peaceful house the rest of the time. That's the benefit. That your house simply runs smoother because you're there to spread the chores out over that time period rather than try tried to squeeze them in. I know this from experience. What? You look at me like I'm crazy.
Well, I took the time to do some art.
Yeah, well, everybody's different. And then you squeeze in. So but for me, that's what the benefit is. You have time for art because you've got time to do all the other chores. It just becomes,
Mm.
your house runs smoother. It's not necessarily that you have free time. It's that you have more time to accomplish more that needs to be done. So your house gets to do more. And sometimes it's doing a little bit of art, so spending some time because all your chores are done. Guess what? And it's only Friday. And now I get time to do something, And then you have your weekend to go off and spend time with your family and your husband or your spouse that you haven't seen all week because they're working 12 hours a day. You get to do that. That's what the benefit is of being able to have a stay-at-home parent. Okay. Or at least one of the benefits of stay-at-home parents when you got a school-age child. Okay.
Okay. Are you okay having friends of your kids over if you don't know the parents, ages 6 and 7? Well, what do you mean by know the parents?
Well,
I mean,
how they get in there?
I've had a conversation, but to set up the play date. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, how they get in there? I mean, you're knowing the parents on some level, right? At some level, you've got to know them. You may not know them well, but you've got to know them. You know how to get in contact with them because no parent's going to drop off their 6 or 7-year-old without knowing you, at least on some level. Maybe their best friend trusts you, so they trust you, and right? So but they'll know you at some level. So, but circumstances. It's one of those things. It's circumstances. You're going to know them on some level, and otherwise you're not going to leave your kid with them.
But
I think because who's coming over at 6? What first graders going over to their friend's house without their parents knowing that where they're going? It just doesn't happen unless you happen to live across the street from the school. Which in case is you get used to it. Get used to strange kids showing up at your house if you live across the street from the school. It's just going to happen. So get to know the office. That would be my suggestion. So there's that. It's not going to happen that often where you don't literally know the parent because there's 6 and 7-year-olds don't get around by themselves unless you live across from the school. And in that particular case, just get to know the staff at the school. You'll be fine. Another one. Come on. We got to go back to the office. Trundle over to the office. All right. So not that there's any good advice. It's just there's not going to happen that often. So don't worry about it.
Okay. Parents of older kids who close slept. When did it end? Well, usually around 5.
Well, it normally ends.
But I've heard older.
Well, it happens older. I mean, it's going to be around 3 or 4. Who wants to sleep with this wild heater? Put your kid to bed. It just generally happens at some point. There's no limit. There's no time frame. It's kind of a unique individual choice. But my guess is, if it's past 4 or 5, one of you is having separation anxiety. It needs to be dealt with. And in that case, it's more likely the parent than the child. So, because children have a hard time adjusting and moving to the bed, but they do adjust and move to it relatively quickly, right? Because it's simply better. And kids aren't stupid. And so the only reason they stay with their parents is for separation anxiety reasons, right? They don't interpret shadows or whatever it is, and you need to deal with that. Parents dealing with separation anxiety is a vastly different thing because there's no one to force them to deal with it. A child can't force a parent to deal with their separation anxiety. So if it goes too long, and I'm not exactly sure how to define that, where that line is, then it's some kind of separation anxiety. Either that the parent is, what's the word I'm looking for? Either experiencing or enabling, and it needs to be dealt with one way or the other at some point.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure what that is. My guess is probably around 4, but 3 or 4 would be kind of the extended line of it. But who might have make that line? I'm just saying there is a line somewhere. Okay.
Holding a newborn too often? You can't hold the newborn too much.
I disagree. You can actually create separation anxiety later on if they're don't get themselves used to soothing themselves to some level.
We're talking newborn, not
Yeah, well, yeah, you're 6 weeks.
3 months.
I'm not saying you ignore them. I'm just saying if you can actually hold them too much.
I don't think that's possible.
I'm not necessarily going to cause a distinct damage to them or anything, but every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're holding them all the time, there is going to be a reaction to that, and it's not there always going to be the reaction you think. All things, balance in all things. That's all I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying you sit there and let them scream if there's something wrong with them. You soothe them, but there's no need to hold them all the time. You can create issues. That's all. And, too much of anything can be bad. It just is. Where that line is, don't know. But there is a line. Okay. Okay. We've got work questions now.
Yes.
Woohoo.
How do you handle coworkers based on assumption? Oh, wait. Didn't we do this one before?
I have no idea where you're at.
I'm lost. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back.
All right.
How to deal with ass kisser employee. I'm his supervisor.
Don't reward it. That's how you deal with it. You don't necessarily punish the behavior, but you don't reward the behavior. And he'll stop doing it because it's no longer a valid use of his time. That's what you do.
Okay.
And you may be, and be very careful what you think might be an ass kisser. He may just be a pleaser and doesn't know a line. So you may just need some training in terms of interpersonal relationship training, boundaries. You may have to have a discussion about boundaries, but if he's generally is an ass kisser, the only thing you can either do is to not reward it. Just don't reward it. Short, bland answers. So, yeah, because they only do it because they think they're going to get something out of it. And so if it's clear they're not going to get anything out of it, they won't do it.
Okay, my coworkers consistently interrupt me while I'm presenting. How do I stop this rude behavior? Call them on it.
Or there is a second option to this, and it may require some introspection. You may have a problem with your presentation style. If there's too many questions, or if they have too many comments during it, what they may be doing is giving you feedback that there's stuff that should be in your presentation that isn't, or that your presentation is choppy and blocky, and so you're actually creating opportunities for them to interject. Is it rude behavior? Yes, it is, but it's also an opportunity for you to improve. Because you've got to take this as feedback that, okay, someone who's engaged isn't going to interrupt. So what they're actually, one of the subtle signs is that your presentations aren't engaging, or they're lacking information. So they're asking for it. Should they do it after the meeting? Pull you aside and say, hey, look, I appreciate all the effort you're putting into, but we need this and this added to your presentation, or you need to spend some time practicing how you're delivering. Don't read the chart. We can see it. You don't need to read it. Explain it. That kind of thing. So it's an opportunity to get better, which requires some introspection, which is difficult.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's hard to tell people that.
But it sounds productive. You'd be very productive.
Yeah, and it depends what they're doing, but that type of behaviors, if you're generally speaking, if you're engaging, that doesn't happen, and so there's something with your presentation that should be improved. Then yes, they're still being rude. Someone should pull you aside and give you help, mentorship, guidance, rather than point at you during the meeting. But doesn't mean you can't learn from it. Okay.
I really need advice on how to handle the type of manager who you loathe having to ask for help, since you should already know this. How do I get the information I need?
You better ask somebody. Just don't ask them. Ask AI, ask another coworker, phone a friend, call a vendor. It's one of my favorite things to do when I don't know how to do something. I don't have a problem. My boss doesn't know either, so so I've got to find these answers for myself. I'll call a vendor and ask him. Ask, or if you're part of a work association, or if you can reach out to them and ask them. Professional associations. Maybe even in amateurs. You have lots of amateur groups that you can ask, or nowadays you can simply ask AI and see what kind of answer you get, and it gives you a starting point of where to start looking for answers. Yes, it's a sucky boss, because no boss should expect you to know everything. You should know this. Okay, I don't. Teach me. All right, well, let's find out. Sometimes I don't know. People come to me, hey, what's the answer to I don't know. Let's find out. Let's figure it out. I don't know. I'll help you find out. That should be the answer, but it's not. So it's up to you as a human being, just for yourself, not for the boss, not for your job, for you to learn how to go around it, learn how to ask somebody else. That's my suggestion. And there's lots of good thing is there's lots of people to ask, from AI to professional associations, and blah, blah, blah. There's lots of people to ask, coworkers. And because my always thing is my job is to get the job done. How I get the job done is up to me. If I need to ask somebody, then I'm going to ask somebody. All right. What you got?
Okay. Last work question. How do I get through a job if it conflicts with my personal ethics?
You don't. There comes a point where you have to make a stand for your ethics. Right? Now that line can sometimes be hard to see, but you know where it is. And sometimes you have to. Long term, you'll never be sorry for not violating your ethics. You may have to pay an immediate price, changing jobs or something like that, but you will never, long term. And you're gonna have to decide: are you when you're ethics? Are you defrauding old people, or is your job to find tax loopholes? If your job is to find tax loopholes, well, that's your job, to find tax loopholes. You may not like it, but it's your job. It's not unethical. You just don't like it. That's a different thing. But if you're defrauding people or creating dangerous products, you have an obligation to not participate, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, when you talk about ethics, find out what exactly ethics you're talking about. And does it actually matter? Because, the ethic of having food on your table may be more important than the ethic of, not finding tax loopholes. Maybe if the tax loopholes are perfectly legal, you're not violating You're violating your personal ethics, not your legal ethics, and your paycheck may be more important than that. But if you're defrauding people, that's a vastly different thing, right? So it depends. But if it's a clear violation of your personal ethics, you have your moral obligation to yourself to not participate and to find a way out. So, okay.
Okay, now we have sex questions.
All right. We got to go through it. We're late. Okay.
I was filmed without knowledge or consent during sex this weekend, and I'm losing it. Can I bring legal charges?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Okay.
Okay, why would a guy prefer finishing on me versus in me? Some of them like to watch it.
Some of them wanted to reduce the chance of pregnancy. So, there's something for everybody. That's, it is. I hear it's good for your skin. So there's that.
Okay. That's if you swallow it.
No, I hear it's good if you rub it into your skin like a lotion.
No, it's if you swallow it.
Well, I wish I would have known that. I could have used that. All right. Anyway, I could have used that information. All right.
Should I be worried that I didn't wake up during a BJ?
Well, had you been drinking or something the night before? But worried? No, just means you were sleeping hard. That's all that means. It means you're either tired or, inebriated of some form.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Okay. Nervous about having sex tomorrow. Would a glass of wine possibly help?
Possibly, but why are you nervous is the question I would ask. And once you deal with that, it's your first time with this person and you really like them. All these are perfectly reasonable nervousness questions. But if your nervousness is something else, then you have to deal with that. So my suggestion for nervousness is not necessarily not to have a glass of wine if it helps calm your nerve. But don't drink too much. Stick to a glass. But to find out exactly what it is you're nervous about. I mean, really, exactly what it is you're nervous about. And then you can emotionally deal with it then. You may find out you're not ready. That you're nervous is you kind of forced yourself into a thing you're not particularly ready for yet. Or maybe you're just generally nervous because you really like the guy and you're nervous. Or the person and you're just and you're nervous, right? These both were possible. And so you're not going to be able to deal with them properly without getting down and completely generally understanding what it is you're nervous about. And the good thing is, once you become good at that, about understanding why you're nervous, understanding why you want to do things. And it becomes a useful tool in all of your life, not just your sex life. So, a good practice of self-examination and finding out exactly why you feel some way, exactly why you're nervous, exactly why you love, exactly why you have, any emotional reaction. Figure it out exactly why it is. You become much more in control of who and what you are, which makes you a better you. And with that, we are out of here for the night. We want to thank you for joining us. And you can always find us at latenightlove.us. You can send us your questions and answers and whatnot to love@latenightlove.us. Please do us the favor, like, subscribe, share, all that great stuff. And we will see you next weekend. And please remember to love everybody.